So I want to tell you to not go to college to make money, to learn how to make money and to do things in your life that are going to net you a significant amount of money. And I know that this is going to seem really counterintuitive for me to say this at this moment, but I just stick with it and hopefully you're going to understand what I'm talking about. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Maslach. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor for to help you out. So I know that seems really counterintuitive for me to tell you to not go to college just to make money. There's lots of reasons for this, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background about who I am. So I have a chemical engineering degree from one of the top schools in Canada. I have studied finance at the PhD level and strategy at PhD level as well. It's actually, that was my field of research, or that is my field of research. I study innovation and entrepreneurship. I've studied sociology and psychology. I've done a bunch of stuff and looked at many different areas of life. And as I have grown in my career and also grown myself in terms of who I am as an individual, I have come to the realization that chasing money, that doing things for the simple fact of actually making more money is more detrimental to who you are as an individual than anything else. So, this goes back to why I did all of that stuff and did all of those degrees and studied in all sorts of different dimensions. Really, I was trying to seek out how to make money and to do things that will net a good return in my life. And that actually is a really useful thing to do, is to think about actions that are going to net a significant return in your life. So choosing a course that is going to benefit you in your career and benefit you in your life versus the actual amount of cost it actually takes is actually very wise to do that. I think a lot of people don't do that enough. They don't consider that enough in terms of looking at the bang for the buck. I guarantee if you're watching this video at this moment, you have not done this. You have not sat down and actually looked at the cost of the college or the university that you are thinking of attending or you're attending right now, and looked at the actual benefit that you're going to get, how much money you're going to make, say maybe 10 years from when you actually graduate. I guarantee nobody does that. It's just, I've asked this hundreds of times to my own students and just from other people, and I've only had one person actually said they actually sat down and done that, and most people actually don't do that. They go on gut feel, and what they're looking for is the thing that is going to net them a significant amount of money for the least amount of work, but they have very little idea of what that actually means in when they actually do that. So what I can know to do is, instead of focusing on the financial returns and focusing on making a significant amount of money, what I've learned to do is actually follow the thing that will generate the most amount of interest, the most amount of passion, with the least amount of cost to do that particular thing, but at the same time have a significant benefit in your life in terms of whether it is living a great life, whatever that looks like to you. You have to decide on what that actually looks like. So, it used to drive me a little bananas to think about, why is it that virtually nobody actually sits down and does any of these financial calculations, because you are financially better off in a lot of different ways. At this moment, my wife and I have done things pretty decently with finances, and we're doing pretty okay at this moment. And it's easy for me to say these particular things, but what I've learned to go and think about is why I chose certain things other than the financial aspects of doing those particular things, right? So why did I actually study sociology or psychology. Those actually don't really have very good financial returns to study in those particular areas. And the reason is it's something I'm just curious about. And that's something that you have to navigate and think about and balance in your life. It's not just about doing things for the financial benefit. And that stuff is pretty easy. All you have to do is pick up a finance book, a personal finance book. Nobody's going to do that. If you watch this channel, I guarantee you're not going to do it. But, it's pretty easy in terms of doing this, where you just simply look at the cost of something and you balance the reward of doing that particular thing. Or, in terms of investing, I don't invest in anything that's like single stocks or anything like that. I think that's nonsense. I invest in the stock market, the American economy, or the global economy, but I don't invest in any particular thing because it's too risky. So what you have to do is think about what is going to be the net benefit for you and make you the most curious, the most interested, the most whatever, and work on those particular things and leverage those particular things for you personally. And that's why it's difficult to do these sort of financial calculations and think about, what is the benefit of doing those particular things, because often those things don't really resonate with what you're doing. So I can tell you to be an actuarial scientist. I can tell you to go into finance. I could tell you to go to Wall Street, because those are going to be probably pretty good returns. I could tell you to be an engineer. There's going to be returns in terms of doing those particular things, or a nurse. You're going to do okay if you do those things. You're going to do quite all right. But those are not the things that you are personally interested in. And if those characteristics, those job characteristics or things that you are sort of curious about are not the things that you're interested in, then you have to figure out, how can I work backwards to get to where I want to go? Now, if you want to become an artist, for example, a lot of people think that becoming an artist is opening up your own art gallery or whatever. But in today's economy, how things have shifted dramatically in the last 10 years, you don't have to do that anymore. You could do curious things that are unusual, and you just have to work at those particular things. But work on it in such a way that you're not going to be financially terribly strapped, but look for ways that you can do that. So, maybe it is you get a regular job, or maybe you do go get that degree in engineering, or you do become a nurse, but then on the side, your passion or your thing that you're really curious about is whatever it is that you're doing. So that you want to become a painter, so then you paint on the side, and you explore that particular phenomenon at the same time. Or you want to go, and maybe it is you want to become a financial planner or something like that in the future. Well, then do that on the side as you're doing something that nets you decent returns, decent sort of income for the time being, while you explore those particular things. Because the last thing you want to do is to jump into something dramatically and then realize that you actually are not that necessarily curious about that particular thing. So if I can get you to do one thing after watching this video, is to not just take in financial considerations into your life. That's a really important thing. I want you to actually do that. Sit down and do that. It's going to be hard for you to do that, but think about these financial implications. Write it down on a piece of paper. But at the same time, look to see at how you can leverage the things that you're really curious and interested about. So if you like Star Trek, if you like My Little Pony, if you like, I don't know what it is, figure out what you actually like. Maybe it is that you like, combing hairs and cutting hair and hairdressing and all that stuff. Figure out what it is that you like to do, and just kind of do that on the side, or do that as something that you just enjoy, or work towards going and becoming a better one of those particular things. So for example, you want to become a hairstylist, and you want to be world-class hairstylist. Figure out what it takes to become a world-class hairstylist at that moment. So have that in your mind, what that looks like, and then work backwards to get there. So you're probably going to need to get some good education in becoming a hairstylist. But at the same time, you probably should get some financial management courses and stuff, or go to a business school and learn about business, for example, on top of that. And then you might need to learn about, doing things on social media. So then you do that on top of it, and you layer on those particular things. And so by the time you're 25 years out, 30 years out, you've had this fantastic career. Maybe you own a series of different hairstylist salons, and you keep going with that particular thing. So that's what I want you to think about, is how do you actually get to the moment where you're doing something that's wonderful and that you enjoy, and you can get to that particular thing in terms of a stepping stone. Don't think about it as like this is your end all and be all and you have to do this sort of financial thing. Think of it as a way that you can actually do something wonderful in your life that you truly love to do and work towards that particular thing. So with that, give me a thumbs up and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.